Okay, to summarize, Daf Nun Gimel is the middle of a Maamer, and it talks about that when a person has a love for Hashem, he has to be specific that it's not the love of what Hashem does for me, but it's a love that's a total and unrestrained love. Not because I love to be alive and Hashem is the source of my life, therefore I love Hashem. It's simply an unconditional love. And that's a love that manifests itself even in Mesiras Nefesh. Now, we talked about that every Jew has this capacity, but how does he identify it? He identifies it through the wine of Torah. And that is, just as wine brings out the secrets within a person, similarly, it brings out the secrets of the spiritual character that exists within the person. And this helps us understand what appears to be an unusual term. The verse says, areivim alai divrei sofrim miyaina shel. It is more delicious on me, not to me, li, but alai, on me, the words of the authors, the Rabbanan. And we explained that this is specifically what is the wine of Torah, and it particularly relates to the brachos we make over mitzvahs. We explained that the text of a bracha seems odd. It begins with Baruch. We're reaching out to the essence. Atah, it's identifiable. Hashem, it's Yud Kei Vav Kei. Elokeinu melech haolam, we're bringing him down to this world. But in order to Asher Kedishanu, to give us an alignment with Hashem through the very particular of the action item of the mitzvah item that we do. So at first we start from a distant level, Baruch, and we're pursuing it, Razal. Then we bring it back down, all the way down into the very specific behavior of the particular mitzvah. And that's why it's alai, because we're drawing down a level that surrounds me, not just one that is embedded within me. That concludes the Maamer that's still on the first side of Daf Nun Gimel. Then there's another Maamer. This is based on a posuk in Yeshaya that reads, your heart shall meditate. And it says, where is he who counts? Where is he who weighs? Where is he who counts the towers? So this phrase is a reference to how we go from the infinite of Hashem, that's uncountable, down into the countable. How do we bring it all the way down here into this physical world? That's only through the characteristic of Gevura that starts to give shape and identity. And that's why the posuk reads, where? Meaning we know it's there, but we don't know where it is. How does it come down here? So we have to reach to a level that is not just infinite, but in an ironic sense, it's sort of more infinite than infinite, meaning that it is so infinite, it can even become finite. And that is, it can be brought down here into this world, just as Hashem himself had to go into Mitzrayim to smite the firstborn, and not a malach, because the malach is only infinite. Hashem is such a level of infinite that he can even manifest himself in the finite. And even Torah has a certain definition to it. Torah preceded the world by 2,000 years, but only 2,000. And what we're really looking for is where? Where is the one who counts? Where does that come from? How can a physical world be receiving from the infinite? And the answer there is through the love that we long for Hashem, we bring God down into this world. Then on Amud Beis, there's another Maamer that begins with the posuk Haborim Mishar Yaakov Yotzes Jeferach Yisrael. It's also from Mishayo, and it translates as those who came, who Jacob caused to take root, Israel flourished and blossomed. So we quoted the Zohar that aligns Yaakov with the world of Bria and Yisrael with the world of Yetzirah, which seems upside down. Yisrael is the higher level. Wouldn't we assume he would be aligned with the higher level of Bria? And Yaakov is the lower level. Wouldn't he be aligned with the lower level of Yetzirah? So we explained, why is it that Yaakov is associated with the higher level? So we gave a mashal from the way a seed produces a fruit. You take a tasteless seed, you put it in the earth, and it blossoms out into a delicious fruit. Now, the same thing is true, that Hashem takes the neshama and he puts it into this world. And it blossoms out through fulfilling the purpose which Hashem created, the world, the dir b'tachteinim. And of course, Hashem is everywhere, but Hashem doesn't just want to be everywhere, he wants to be evident everywhere. And the mechanism for evoking that evidence of Hashem everywhere is specifically through the mitzvah activities, and particularly through making brachos. That just like the word bracha is correlated to the word bricha, which is to connect from what is hidden, to become revealed. This is what we effectuate when we make brachos. Now, we make the brachas, they're only through enunciation. But again, we have to ultimately be doing the mitzvah. So just like if you put a seed on a table, nothing will grow. Well, similarly, if you take tefillin or a talis and you put them on a table, or a goy puts it on, nothing is going to grow from it. It's not going to achieve its objective. Just like the seed has to be placed in the soil, so too, the neshama has to be placed in the body, and the body has to utilize the physical mitzvahs. Because since it's Hashem's desire to be a melech, and a melech needs people, and they need people who are not intuitively aligned with godliness, because that's not an accomplishment. You need people who have their own sense of yesh. I'm me, I do what I want. And then they voluntarily submit themselves to the ayin, the infinity of Hashem. Now they have fulfilled God's will. Now they have blossomed and taken something tasteless and turned it into something wonderful. Now we understand this phrase that those who came, Jacob took to root and so forth. That is the level of mitzvahs that come from the loftiest level. It is specifically through Yud Akev, taking Yud, Yaakov, the highest level, down into the most ordinary, that we are effectuating this transformation, that we blossom, like David HaMelech said, everything has its end, but mitzvahs are very wide, meaning even a neshama is limited to its capacity. But the mitzvah produces something that is essentially infinite, that through the mitzvah, we create the infinite.